The supreme leader, the new supreme leader, released a message today. Of course, he didn't show his face. He just did a little written, a little note. Why? Because reports are that the guy's legs are blown off and he's in a coma. He doesn't even know he's leader, but yet they have to keep up the facade. It's important for their regime to have this supreme leader to show this strength. So here's Trump responding to the guy's message today.
Finally, we hear from the supreme leader in a long statement. We don't see him. He doesn't read the speech. They say he wrote the speech. First off, do you believe he's alive?
I think he probably is. I think he's damaged, but I think he's probably alive in some form. Yeah.
What's your takeaway? I know he says that he's going to widen the war. He's going to continue to use the Strait of Hormuz as leverage against you. To end this war. He's got underwater drones to stop any of the ships going in and out. What's your message back to the new supreme leader?
Well, they've been doing a lot of talking, so he's going to have to put up. We'll have to see, because we are decimating them. We've knocked out most of their missiles. We've knocked out many of their drones. We knocked out a lot of the manufacturing areas where they manufacture the missiles and now the drones. We're hitting them harder than anybody's been hit since World War II.
Finally, we hear from the supreme leader.
You hear that at the end there? We've hit harder than anybody since World War II. That's funny. What did I tell you guys last night? I think it was last night. It might have been 2 nights ago. I said this is the largest onslaught from the air on anybody since World War II. And then Trump validates me again. Oh, I love being right. Listen, they have nothing of substance. They have nothing to go on. What they have is to endure. We're just going to try to frustrate you. And Iran's one play here is to try to stay alive just long enough, to try to be annoying just long enough that we quit. But here's the problem. They've never fought Donald Trump before. This is not the typical president who is going to slow things down, be like, okay, we unleashed hell. Now we're going to slow down and we're just going to do things a little bit here, a little bit there. We're going to see what they do. No, Trump is like, here's the line. And I'm going to just have to keep destroying you because you guys are still on the wrong side of that line. And that, my friends, is the difference. Everybody right now is freaking out. I listen to the news show so you don't have to. I check in with several voices out there, and many people who are even on the fence, who did not say, oh, this is Israel, blah, 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 who actually liked the initial strikes, who actually thought it was well done, are now starting to change their tune and starting to say, oh, I knew it. We're going to get stuck. We're done. They didn't plan for this. The Strait of Hormuz is going to ruin it for us. Trump was not ready. Are you kidding me? It hasn't even been 2 weeks. It's been 13 days. We're less than 2 weeks into this thing, and we're already saying we're stuck. Is that not one of the most retarded, stupidest analysis you've ever heard? I'm sorry, that's wild that people are already saying that. You know, when they started saying we were stuck in Iraq, after about 6 months, maybe even longer, the media gave Bush this huge long leash. You know, when they started saying we were stuck in Libya or Syria under Obama, how about never? They never said it. How about Afghanistan? It was about 2 years before they started saying we were stuck and worrying about it. No, with Donald Trump, you get 12 days because it really started yesterday. You get 12 days before we're going to say, oh no, we're stuck in a long-term war. We're stuck. Oh my God. It's unbelievable. The difference that this man goes through and how he's analyzed, how little rope he's given, how little leash he's given, even from those who liked him or like the move at first, but it just goes to show you they cannot, even if their instinct is to say, oh, this is a good thing. Even if that's their instinct, eventually they have to play by the rules of that media establishment. They get their marching orders. And sometimes it's not direct. Sometimes they're just trusting the wrong people. And so it spreads. And even people I like are starting to say this. And I'm like, oh my God, I would do anything to get up there and just annihilate your case. But while everybody else is freaking out, the White House is having a little fun. Here's a little video they put out today about the war right now. And I got to say, you know, I played I played competitive sports through high school and college. I've been business 20 years, all kinds of stuff, all kinds of competition is my point. And you know, the people laughing and having fun are usually the ones winning. Well, this is from the White House today. Social media team is so I'm jealous, honestly. I'm jealous watching this stuff. It's just too funny, man. And you know, this doesn't show me concern. It doesn't show me worry. It doesn't tell me, because here's what happens. Our White House, you know, it's the American president. We're the most powerful man in the world, right? We're not allowed to show concern, but we are supposed to be very serious, especially when things are hard. Be very serious. Well, if things were wrong, I'd expect at least a little bit of seriousness, but that's not what we're getting. Here's a great post breaking down where we're actually at today. So I'm going to go through this real quick. This guy's a great thinker. Says, I've gotten a lot of very uninformed replies today about how the U.S. can't do this because Iran will X, Y, or Z. This is childishly ignorant. Iran's been attacking Saudi oil industry with drones, rockets, ballistic missiles for years. They barely made a dent. It's just all true. This is for the people who say that Iran's got some super secret weapon they're waiting to unleash upon us. Iran's been committing piracy against oil vessels in the Gulf Stream, Red Sea for years. Recent slow in OPEC is because storage capacity is filling up. It's filling up because the ships won't move. Ships won't move because they're scared. None of this is because of damage Iran can or has caused. Fear of the thing is worse than the thing itself. Estimates are Iran has placed less than 24 mines in the strait. Hazardous but not impassable. Ships are waiting because they're enormously expensive, and so is insurance. We're subsidizing it and have offered escorts, but risk assessment's up to the captains, and they've decided to try and wait. You can't blame them. We're not mad at the ships, but come on. Eventually, they have to make a move. They'll move once clearing operation can proceed. By the way, if captains were worried about this becoming a protracted conflict, they wouldn't be staying in the Gulf. They have taken the offer for an escort and hauled ass. They're sitting tight because they expect this to be over soon. Great point. Even the damage at GCC oil facilities is essentially superficial. None of it substantially reducing output capacities. Iran's not holding back. Here's the key right here. Key paragraph for all the Iran's good. It's so tough out there. The Scott Ritters of the world. They're firing everything they can. This is what they can muster. They failed to mine the strait in time because Khomeini was too committed to his Chihuahua Act to pull the trigger. If he'd done so, it would have guaranteed destruction of his governmental system. By the time it became apparent that was the actual objective, he was dead, and no one was around to give the order. Now the IRGC's navy's either in port and tunnels or at the bottom of the Gulf. They may be rationing drones and missiles, but they aren't holding back a massive barrage where we cross a red line. Exactly. I've been saying this since the beginning. The red line was when we crossed it by bombing the snot out of them and taking out Ayatollah Khomeini on day one. That was the red line, folks. If Iran was going to blast us back, that was the red line. We killed the supreme leader. We killed the assembly of experts. We killed their commanders, sunk their ships, destroyed their planes, allegedly even blew up a school. They aren't holding back. There's no greater escalation on their part. No red line we haven't crossed. I implore you to have a measure of self-reflection awareness to know you don't know what you're talking about on this subject for the sake of your own dignity. The only thing restraining U.S. from returning Persia to a 19th century state is our own objectives and interests. There are reasons we may not want to do this. They're our own and not something imposed by the non-existence resistance. 100%. And I'll tell you exactly what that is. Trump wants them to take over their own country. He wants the people to have this country. He doesn't want to take it over. He doesn't want a proxy state. He doesn't want to install their leadership. He wants the people to take it back. And he doesn't want civilian casualties. He is doing everything he can to play this as safe as he can. Americans come first, which is why we're bombing them and not going in, because the best way to not kill civilians is to go in on the ground, because you can be a little bit more safe and targeted when it's actually people seeing it. But bombing like this, we're doing it as effectively as we can. And Trump, he's already told us he's ready. We got what we need to send the country back 25 years, but he doesn't want to do that to the people unless they force him to. And so we need to be praying that the people get brave. There has been some promising reports, and I've shared them on this stream the last few nights, but we need to pray they get brave and they actually go through with it. Otherwise, we will end this in a way that's harder in general on the people, which we don't want to do. But Trump will put the American people first. He will. He'll put our future first. And this regime, they cannot stay in power because, A, we don't have all their uranium yet. We don't know that it's completely destroyed. So that's number one. And number two, we can't trust them to do what's right anymore at all. Like they can't. After this, they can no longer be allowed to sponsor terrorism. We've gone in. We've stamped our footprint on it. We cannot allow them to control oil in the Strait of Hormuz anymore. We just can't do it. We can't trust them at all. Not this government. So these are things that have to be dealt with. And even though I think Trump was hoping when he went in, and when I say he's hoping, I feel like they went in and they were like, there's 5 different scenarios we will accept to get out of this. And they were hoping maybe if this regime stayed in place, that they'd get a moderate to take over. But that's not going to happen. And he's given them time to prove it. But it's not going to happen. So just like in Venezuela when a moderate took over. So, but again, they don't have capabilities to hurt us. That's not what's happening. This is now them just trying to wait us out and see if we'll grow weary. Well, it's only been 13 days. And even if the media is starting to turn, even if the libertards are starting to turn, it's 13 days is not enough for Trump to turn. Not yet. So, and talking about reports coming out of Iran, is according to sources, a major silent power shift has occurred in Iran. Traditional mullah establishment has lost control, with a powerful faction of IRGC commanders now de facto running the country. Khomeini's son is being used strictly as a figurehead to maintain the illusion of continuity. So the other, and down here, his next comment is, according to these sources, they're also in direct talks with the U.S. Now, I hate anonymous sources. They are always, trust me, bro. And I don't like trust me, bro. I don't. I looked up this guy. He's got enough credentials where I'm like, well, I can, and I've looked up his past. He's got enough where I'm like, okay, he's a legit reporter. So I'm going to report his story. I can't tell you if it's true or not. He might be throwing noise out there just as much as our media is throwing noise at us. I don't know. But I can tell you that this would actually make a lot of sense. And so we can hope and pray it's true. And if it's true, if the IRGC did take over, and if Khomeini's regime is basically gone, Well, the IRGC, which is also pretty terrible, and a lot of connection to City of London, but they're not religious fanatics. So they might be much more open to creating a new government similar to what we have in Venezuela. So let's watch and pray and hope that that's what we get. But cutting through the noise, we have this coming out today. Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson says many ships can still pass through Strait of Hormuz if they coordinate with the Iranian Navy. And to which they reply, what Iranian Navy? But the straits are open, which is true. The straits are open. It's just that, as I just read, a lot of ships aren't quite ready to go through because they're scared of the few mines in there and then whatever else Iran is doing. So they're waiting it out. But they don't have a navy. And so this is all Iran's foreign ministry just talking, just throwing stuff out there just to act as if they're still in charge. It's all part of the psyop. As James Lindsay calls out here, you're getting psyoped. And one of the big psyops going on right now is that there was going to be some massive drone attack from Iran to California. Now tell me, first of all, how that makes sense. Iran's across the Atlantic. To get to California, you got to go around the world. No one attacks like that. But this was reported by ABC News, and then a lot of other networks picked it up from ABC's report. It's all to scare us. And then we get there's going to be major false flags so that the Jews can take over. I'm not even kidding. This is the kind of stuff we're hearing. Okay, but thankfully, Iran's not playing attack on California. Their drones can't even reach the West Coast. CIA Mossad, here it is planning one to manufacture consent for an unpopular war. Well, we're already in the war. So how does that make sense? As James Lindsay calls it out, you are getting psyopsed. And it's true. The psyops are everywhere right now. It's the worst I've ever seen. And that includes COVID. And the reason why I say it includes COVID is because COVID, the psyop itself was massive, but it was made worse by the fact that the government was enforcing it. And every time Trump tried to do something, I mean, I don't have time to go into the whole COVID situation, break it through that. That was a massive psyop. But the reason I say this one is what we're seeing now in Trump's second term is even bigger, is because the plants within MAGA are now coming out. See, under COVID, because they were able to lock stuff down, they were able to actually get a virus out there. Not that dangerous of a virus for most people, but still it was out there. That aspect was real, and they were able to rig the elections because of it. And so they didn't need to go all assets deployed in that one. But see now, because you don't use resources if you don't need to. You save them for when you need them. Well, now all assets are deployed, and we keep seeing it everywhere. The lies that keep coming out, the influencers that keep turning, it's just every day there's something new. And it's trying to destroy us from within. And they're hoping that they turn enough of us, that that with all assets deployed, enough of us give up on the midterms or vote Democrat, that they overwhelmingly win the House and Senate. And then they have at least a shred of hope of getting rid of Trump. It's a small hope. It's not very big. And I've told you guys before why I don't think the midterms are the end all be all that everybody acts like they are. They're important. Don't get me wrong. Very important. But it's not the end of the world if we lose them, because 2028, Trump will still be president. They still have to go. JD Vance is next in succession. And there's just no way we don't get to 2028 where the Democrats, in fact, it could backfire on them, because the people, if they do vote in the Democrats, they're going to be voting in for pricing. They're going to be voting in for all the stuff they're frustrated with Trump right now. And the Democrats won't deliver any of it. They won't deliver any of it. And because they won't deliver any of it, and they'll just focus the entire time on impeaching Trump and trying to ruin his presidency, the people will turn on that, and 2028 will probably be an even bigger landslide. So you see, the midterms are not the end of the world. They're just going to suck if the Democrats are in. But that's why we're getting psyoped to hell right now. Now, Victor Davis Hanson was on Ingram, and he had a great breakdown of what could come out of this war from Iran. And let's listen to him real quick.
There's three possible outcomes in our view, and they're all better than the pre-war one. The first is that we did so much damage to the military and discredit, there's a popular revolt. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but it could. The second is the Venezuela situation, where somebody emerges that we're not really in favor of, but they're going to put a lid on the theocracy and work with the West. And the third is you're just going to do so much damage to the command and control and the military infrastructure that you just let them stew in their own juice. And then you say to the Iranian people, these people did this to you, and we're here to help sometime, but go to it. And whatever happens will be better than having them close to a nuclear weapon and with all the assets they had. So we're in a good position, Laura. There's three possible.
I love it. This guy is very smart, and he makes excellent points that there's really no downside at this point to what's going on in Iran, which, as I told you guys, Trump has an out, and he's going to use one of those outs one way or the other coming up to the midterms. And worst case scenario, we leave them obliterated. We put very strong sanctions on, strong boundaries. We're watching the Strait of Hormuz very closely, maybe leave some ships somewhere over there, whatever it is, but we end the official operation before the midterms and we declare victory. So Trump, this is going to end up a win for Trump one way or the other. And Victor Davis Hanson breaks it down really well right there in saying so. Now, I do think something's coming, because check this out. Scott Bessent was giving an interview tonight, and in the interview, this happened mid-interview.
I listened to you on the.
The president wants you. Sorry, the president wants you very much.
Oh, okay. Okay. No problem at all. See you shortly, Mr. Secretary.
You can work that in.
Mr. Secretary, I have to say, it's a first, I'm sure a last as well, that
President pulled him out for 2 hours from his interview. You know how much Trump cares about media and his people being good on media? It's a big deal to him. So some's going down. Some in the finance realm, which, by the way, Bessent is he's one of Trump's captains in this war, because City of London's main control is financial. And Bessent is helping him destroy their financial hold on everything. So Bessent is basically, we looked at him as basically a war general. So remember that whenever Bessent is everywhere with all this going on.
an interviewee's been pulled away to go to the Situation Room. How was the president? Was he stressed?
No, the president is in great spirits. The Iranian mission is proceeding well ahead of schedule, and I have to tell you, Wolf, that I've a teenager who's considering military service, and I could give this team my highest compliment, from President Trump to the head of the Joint Chiefs to the Secretary of War. I would say that I would trust my child's life in their hands.
Good stuff from Bessent. What a great answer. But again, Situation Room, 2 hours in the middle of an interview. It'd be very interesting to see what happens with in the next couple of days. If it is true that the IRGC is taken over and is reaching out to the U.S., Bessent would be a big part of negotiating all that. So are we close? Is Trump going to pull a fast one on everybody? I wouldn't be surprised. Let me put it that way. Because, Trump doesn't go out there and say we're ahead of schedule, stuff like that, unless he knows something that others don't. And the Trump administration is notorious also for seeding out false narratives, leaking what they want the media to think, versus what's actually going on purpose, because he loves to make the media look bad over and over and over again. And remember, Bessent, he is the guy who helped Soros crash the pound in the 90s. So Bessent, he knows how the most diabolical financial man in the world has done this stuff. He's a genius. And I gotta say, I love how Trump has pulled these people like Bessent and Tulsi Gabbard away, those who've defected from the evil side, back over. So watch. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out.